Homestead skills, and running a few errands today, and I actually managed to get to the thrift store. So one of the items that I did pick up a week or two ago, I think it was a week ago, unfortunately I lost the file that I created, because what I did is I took a camera shot, took pricing, so that it was all visible, and I just can't find that file. So I'm just going to have to do it without that. And what I did pick up was another 10-inch cast iron lodge pan, and this is the smaller one, and I did have one of these already, so now I have two. And we really like the gentle curved edge. So this is apparently a newer model that they've already discontinued. I don't understand why. I personally like it quite a lot. So I'm happy to find these at the thrift stores, believe me. Now I have two of this size and two of the larger ones, and 3 out of the 4 I picked up at thrift stores. One of them, actually after I bought the first one of these at a thrift store, Mark decided he would prefer to have one of the larger ones as well, so we went and purchased one retail, the larger one. And eventually I found one of the larger ones at a thrift store, so decided to buy it. So now I've got 2 of this size, and I believe this is 10-inch, and the other one I now have 2 of the 12-inch as well. So I'm beginning to think I can open up my own store soon. Anyway, I really enjoy collecting my cast iron, so and Mark seems to not have any concern. As a matter of fact, every time that he's come to the thrift stores with me, which isn't very often, but when he does, he goes directly to the aisle where they have pots and pans to see if there's any cast iron that I would be interested in. So he's quite supportive of that, of collecting that item, so which is nice. And today I did find a few things that I did not buy. They had mason jars. I have found 2 cases, so a total of 24. There were others, but there were 2 cases of pint jars and a mixture of brands, and some what people call the square ones, and some of the older ones, and some Bernardin. They were like Dominion, Bernardin, all kinds, but they were all in good shape. And of course, no lids and rings, but I never want the lids and rings anyway, unless they're brand new in a box. And they were at a great price. I think it was $5.99 for a box of 12, so there were 2 boxes of that. So for $12 I could have gotten 24 more pint jars, which in today's market is a great price, but I have no need for jars. I have exhausted my requirement for even pint jars. I have cases of wide mouth that I still haven't used, and I'm reluctant to use the wide mouth until I've utilized all my regular mouth pint jars, just because of the cost of the lids. They do cost more than the regular mouth, and I do use my wide mouth where they're most useful. The other thing I found was another lovely china mug, that my Royal Albert mugs that I look for. There are 2 styles. Yes, there are 2 styles. One is the taller one, and the other one is the rounder one. I prefer the rounder one myself, but I'll buy either one. And they had a beautiful one with, it was a Christmas, what do you call it, the poinsettia flower. Yes, so definitely a Christmas cup. and I picked it up and I was thrilled to see it, and it was only $3, $2.99. I took a very close look at it and found, unfortunately, that it did have a crack in it, so I'm glad I saw that before I took it to the counter and paid even the $2.99. I don't mind if the gold off the edge is a little bit worn off, but I don't want china that's chipped or cracked, so that I'll leave. If anyone wants to buy those, that's up to them. I have no interest in those. Okay, and another really interesting item that I picked up today is a really nice little lampshade for a small lamp. It's not for a big one, it's for a small lamp, and it's not glass. I wish it were. But those things would, not likely that you'd find them in thrift stores. I'm sure somebody would pay very large dollars for one that was made out of glass, but this is fine. I have 2 lamps that this could work with, and both of them have lost their shades, and I've had shades that I'm not too thrilled on using, but I have used them just to be able to use those lamps. Now this one here is very similar to one of the lampshades that was on one of the lamps. Not the same. The other one was the original lampshade was probably nicer than this and just a little bit wider, but this will do, and I paid $9.99 for $10, so this was a great buy. Now the last thing that I purchased, which I'll probably take a shot of later on when I've got it assembled, is another one of those wire racks, just a small one, and they are stackable. Like the one that I purchased that I used initially to try and make a little greenhouse out of it, and that didn't quite work out for me the way I wanted, so eventually I used it to store a lot of my cast iron, not all of it, it's already outgrown that, but it is the same size and it is stackable should I want to do that, but I don't. I purchased this one to put it elsewhere and to be able to bring my plants in from outside, because it is getting chilly, and anytime soon, if I don't bring those plants in soon, they will, I'll lose them. And 3 of them are bay trees, and they struggle inside anyway. I really don't have the best environment for them inside, but we'll see what we can do for them. See if I can put them all on one rack and give them some better lighting. The other plants were my orchid cactus. They've all started to grow a little bit. I suspect that they have finally developed a root system, and I did purchase these well over a year ago, just a little tiny stem. So I lost 1 or 2 of them, but the girls sent me about 4 of one type and just 1 or 2 of the other types that I ordered. So most of them have survived. And the red Akamani, I think it's called, was the one that I originally wanted to purchase, and that's the one she sent me 4 of. So they've all survived, they've all done well, and part of the reason for me wanting that was that I did once get a piece of that plant from my mother, and it produces the most beautiful flowers. And as my mother said, it's probably one of the ugliest plants she's ever seen, but when it blooms, it's absolutely gorgeous. And yes, it's a cactus. So, and cactuses are not the prettiest plant, but when they bloom, they are definitely outstanding. So, I did leave that behind, unfortunately. I had a huge pot of it in one year. It just blossomed beautifully. And you may notice that I do have a picture of that plant on my channel, so yeah. And so I've decided to try and grow that plant again, and well, they're doing so good so far. If they survive this winter and I can put them out again, all the better. So Anyway, that's it for my thrift store purchases, plus additional. I did go to the dollar store and picked up some more canning lids and a few other items that kitchen items that are useful to buy there, and it's definitely cheaper than other places, as well as those little paper muffin cups at the regular store. I think they were almost $3, and so when I went to the dollar store, they were $1.50. So I knew I could get them cheaper there, so I didn't buy them at the grocery store. So anyway, yeah, I'll hope to be making my cranberry muffins soon. Okay, this is Tony from Her Homestead Skills. Hope you enjoyed this little video, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.